For every game dev up, there is a game dev down. For every triumph, there is a crushing failure. Welcome everybody to Azumi Game Dev Devlog Season 2, Week 5, and today I come to you a broken, hollow shell of a man that I once was. 48 hours on Monday and Tuesday were spent towards trying and failing to implement an adjustment to the underlying logic of a Azumi game in order to make it better, in order to make it more clean, neat, functional, flexible. But the real kicker was that nothing front-facing in terms of the user would have changed. It would have been back-end stuff that would have allowed me to do things a little bit more simplistically, a little bit nicer and more streamlined. But I threw 48 hours at a problem that did not work. What I wanted to do is that I wanted to split one of my states into a series of functions so I could have more control over what happened. The state that I was specifically wanting to fix was the hit state for enemies. Now, right now I have a hit state that controls 3 things at once, which is bad practice. But I didn't know at the time because I was a baby, and I still am a baby. But I'm like slowly learning to crawl now instead of just sitting in my crib and screaming for attention. If we want to put my game dev progression on like a human scale. So the hit state that I have right now takes hits, calculates damage, controls hit stun, and controls death. It has 2 conditions that check if the HP for the enemy is higher or equal to 0, and then below 0. And that controls whether it's alive or dead. And it runs functions, not even functions, but runs lines of code, because none of this is separated into functions. Runs lines of code dependent upon those conditions. And then when an enemy is hit, it automatically goes into a hit stun state. Because when I first designed this state for the enemies, all of them took hit stun damage because I like hit stun in games. I like when you hit something, there's a reaction from the enemy. Something that I find very annoying in video games is when you shoot somebody with a gun or smack them with a sword and they're the same general size as you and there's not enough of a reaction to sell the fact that your weapon made an impact of any sort. This is something that I learned from art. I think I mentioned this in a devlog before actually, but like the weight and impact and effectiveness of a weapon or a blow or any sort of effect is not determined by the visual impact of the attack, but the reaction of the opponent when they're hit. So I wanted hit stun to make it very clear that yeah, when you smack somebody with a sword or throw a star at them, they flinch and they freeze up for a second because like they just got hit with a blow that had impact. And, you know, layer that on top of like some screen shake and some hit stop. And it feels really good and juicy when you hit stuff in a Azumi game, which is like my number 1 goal. I think I did that pretty well. However, eventually I added the big Oni bad guy, the big brute Oni demon dude. I don't know why my screen is cut off all of a sudden, but if we go here, this guy, I don't want him to take hit stun because he's bigger than Azumi. So the attack does damage, but it shouldn't be enough to throw him off balance. Plus, it's also an interesting gameplay mechanic because he has a bit of a wind-up to his club attack. So having that not be interrupted by stuns makes it more interesting to fight him. Because if you can get him into a stun lock, his, big, wide range of damage, the fact that he chases you down and has a lot of HP, doesn't really mean anything if you can instantly stun lock him. For throwaway enemies like the slime and the flyer, it doesn't matter, because one combo is enough to kill them anyways. Zoom out. Like these scrubs, it's fine. This guy, fine. Not a big deal. But for this guy, I wanted some hits to get rid of the hit stun. Can't do that because the hit state controls all those things at the same time. Now, I patched in a workaround for this initially. Currently, in the game, when you hit the Oni, there's a logic specifically for him that bypasses the hit state, but it's a little bit not good practice, but also it doesn't work 100% of the time. Some hits do send him into the hit state, even though it shouldn't be. It's dumb. And I also had to manually paste in the damage calculation in each of his states to make sure he doesn't default back into the enemy class function, which is to go into the hit state when you're hit by an attack. Complicated. Basically, it didn't work very well. Just to keep it simple, TLDR had a system, wasn't flexible, wanted to change it. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to pull out the damage calculation, the hit stun, and the death, and put them in individual functions. So this way you could call them individually as needed. So the hit state would become the stun state, and you could go into the stun state and then run the stun function if an enemy needed it. So you could call the stun function or set it into the stun state, but you could do damage calculation via its own function. So for the Oni guy, instead of sending him into the stun state to take the hit stun damage, you just run the damage calculation, the damage function, when he gets hit. And so you don't even have to send him into a state and try and patch it out to begin with. And then the death thing could be its own state as well, so it doesn't conflict with the hit. It was just a better solution. It was more nuanced, it was easier to control. However, didn't fucking work. I don't know why. I went on the Construct forums to ask how I should do this, and they suggested by using UIDs. So each instance of a sprite or any object in the game has its own unique identification number. You can see this hitbox in particular's UID is 36. This guy's 35. This guy's 26. So they all have their own unique ID, and you can call this in logic in the event sheets to refer to specific instances instead of affecting all of the sprites of the same kind. This is very useful. So I set up functions that would call the UID so it would only affect one instance, the one that you're attacking, and then run the function through that. It would basically use the UID as a parameter in the function, so the function only ran on one instance. Again, good on paper, broke everything, broke the entire game by trying to implement this. And I don't really know why. It started with just the big enemies, the turret, and the Oni no longer working, but the flyers and the slimes worked fine with this new system. So I tried to fix that, then all the enemies broke. Then I tried fixing it more, and then I couldn't even hit anything with attacks to begin with. And where I finally got it to, after 48 hours of continuous working, I actually had to close the file, roll back everything that I'd done the previous day, delete the entire hit function, completely destroy it, destroy all the hit management that I built in the game so far, and rebuilt it from the ground up with this system in mind. Exact same problems. I eventually got it down to the fact that every now and then, when they go into the damage state or the hit stun state, they didn't trigger the animation, and then one of the enemies would be in the hit state but not do the hit stun animation, and it would just like stop reacting to hits. And because the function never finished, all your attacks would only affect that UID because it was stuck in the function, and so hitting every enemy would break. I couldn't find a way around this. So 48 hours of work, no progress whatsoever. So I woke up today knowing that I had to make a choice. I either had to just let this go and keep the patch bullshit janky version, or stop working on the game indefinitely until I could figure it out and hope someone with more knowledge could help me. I decided to go with the first option. I don't have time. I could even pull up Discord where I was bitching to everybody in the I Am Games Discord, and I almost quit. I almost fucking quit. There was a moment when I was like, this is bullshit. I'm taking a break from game dev. But no, I looked at that a couple hours later, like, that's some pussy shit. Fuck that. So I didn't do it. I went back today. I said, fuck it. I might have a janky system that doesn't work properly. I posted back on the forums. I gave them the construct file. Someone asked for it. Hopefully they'll look through it. I have somebody else I know on Twitter who's a construct dev looking at the file. Between the two of them, hopefully someone can tell me what I'm doing wrong, because I never used UIDs before this, so maybe that's a problem. If I can fix that later down the line, it won't be difficult to retrofit it back into the changes that I've done since then. So today, what did I do? If you saw on Twitter, I already posted something because I was proud of it. I've added new nuance to the combat system. I've added, what's the word I'm looking for here? A branching combo system. That's what I'm talking about. A branching combo system. Right now, there's only 2 combos. Before there was 1. There was a 3-hit combo that everyone's aware of. However, now I've added a second combo, and I might add more, depending. Oh, this was already... No, this wasn't muted. Okay. Let me run the game. Oh, God. How would I even run the game with this fucked up window? Oh, you can see Blender behind there. Okay, there we go. I'm going to go just into the test area and preview. I can show you this. Okay. So we all know the standard 3-hit combo Azumi's had forever. This is nothing new. However, I've modeled it after Devil May Cry, where Devil May Cry has one button for swords, and all the combos in Devil May Cry are controlled via timing. So I'm doing the same thing here in Construct. So if I hit the button quickly 3 times in a row, normal 3-hit combo. But if I do 2 and then pause and then keep going, it's a 4-hit. It does this little like jump up and then back down. So 3 in a row, normal attack. And you keep spamming it, it's just going to keep doing that. If you want to do cool stuff, you gotta time it properly. So this system is being controlled with timers and variables. So this is kind of branching off the system I had for combat already in play. And I think I talked about this months ago, back when I first started building the combat system back in October. But we can do a quick primer refresher for people in case anybody cares. Go into player events and we go into state combat with the sword. You can see there's a bunch of junk here. This is kind of a little messy because you have to like have your keyboard and gamepad events. There's no way to like, I guess I could manually assign variables to key inputs, but I'd have to go back in and rip everything back up, which I probably will do at some point. But so how this works, oh God, everything is so cramped. Let's get that out of the way. So when the button is pressed, you set the animation, you play the sound effect, and then you can see there's a variable here called combo count. And every time the attack button's released, 1 is added to the combo count. That's like down here somewhere. Yeah. On the X button released or the game button released, if the variable is less than 3, add 1. Otherwise, wait 2 seconds and clear it back to 1, which is starting state. So that's what lets you do the 3-hit combo. If it's combo count 1, it's attack 1. Combo count 2, it's attack 2. Combo count 3, it's attack 3. So this was how it worked before, but I decided to do something different. On combo count 2, in the second hit, it also starts a timer called combo A. So if combo A, the timer is running, it's only 0.2 seconds, so it's not a huge window. But if it's running and you hit X, that means you're going into the A combo, which is, you know, the standard 3-hit, and it does the 3-hit normally. It goes to attack 3, blah, 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 everything's fine. However, if the combo A timer isn't running, so if it runs out and it's no longer running, and also the attack 3 animation isn't playing, that's just to prevent like looping and jank with the way the hit system works. So if it's not running, after that timer expires and you hit X, then it goes into that upward thing, which is called hang time. So that's the animation where she slashes upwards. So it branches off into a different tree. And then it sets the combo count to -1 because that's still lower than 1. So it'll still iterate on the button release. So once I release it on here, it's going to go to 0. So when combo count is 0 and X is pressed again, now it's in a different branch. We can keep going on this new branching combo. Then it'll do slam dunk, which is the hit where it goes back down. So you can also see there's some vector Y manipulation to have the jump and fall. So yeah, it's all nice and good. And then you put it all together and it works pretty well. I don't know if I'm going to add a third combo to have like feature parity, I guess, with Devil May Cry 1. Devil May Cry 1 had 3 branching combo attacks. So the combat in Azumi is getting pretty good. We have combo A, we have combo B, we have these air slashing, we have the jump kicks, we have the shurikens, and we have the stinger. So we have a lot of combat options available for Azumi. This is quickly becoming a pretty well-featured action game. Just don't look behind the scenes where everything's messy because I can't get fucking UIDs to work. Anyways, that's what I got for this week. This new build with the B combo, as well as some behind the scenes improvements. I changed some of the way the sound effects work, and just little quality of life improvements here and there, nipping, tucking, things like that. It's up for patrons. You can play it. The link in the post on Patreon for this devlog, as I do every week. I make a new devlog. Patrons get access to that. Patrons also on the I Am Games channel, you can watch bonus episodes. I think by the time this comes out, I'll have 9 or 10 bonus podcast episodes that you can listen to if you're a patron for $5 and up. And all patrons can help decide what the next videos for I Am Games are going to be. So, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions about the game, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Till next time, remember to be the games you want to see.